It is a big week for Major League Baseball as winter meetings officially underway this year virtually. Executive VP of the Minnesota Twins and Chief Baseball Officer Derek Falvey joining me now. Derek, how has this new virtual experience been, and what are you hoping to accomplish by the time winter meetings wrap up here?
Yeah, it's strange to think this is winter meetings as I sit here at my house in a home office. But I think for us, really the offseason really felt like it started after the tender date last week with some players being non-tendered and new free agents in the market. That's when it felt like we were really starting to have some conversations. So this feels like winter meetings in some ways because you're having those first conversations, deep conversations with agents and other teams around potential fits. So hopefully we see the market moving here in the near term, but we have some needs on our team. We know we have some holes to fill. We feel really good about the roster we do have, but we have some work to do to make it better.
Before we get to all of those holes, I want to ask you about, as you mentioned, some of those departures and some of those key signings. Trevor May, Eddie Rosario on their way out, but Byron Buxton, Jose Barrios, a couple guys that have signed brand new one-year deals. So what ultimately goes into that decision?
Yeah, the arbitration process is unique every year. Certainly players who go through your system, there's a process for how you set salaries for those guys. And we were very fortunate this year to have real great partnerships with agents around how to come to terms in an agreement. Normally that doesn't happen until sometime in January. And in some cases, you have to go to an arbitration hearing to set that salary. So we got everyone done early on in the process. I'm really happy about that. I think we can now focus our attention on what we need to add externally to add to this group going forward.
Now, some of those holes, like I mentioned, what are your goals for this offseason in terms of what pieces would you like to add to this Twins puzzle come 2021?
Yeah, I was really proud of the work our guys that are currently on the roster did last year. I think we showed we advanced again, in the pitching side of things, which is something we wanted to do. Kenta Maeda was everything we hoped for, and then some, finishing second in the Cy Young this year. Jose Barrios continued to pitch well. So we know from a pitching standpoint, certainly we have some internal guys that stepped up along the way and are still a big part of this group. I think what Taylor Rogers and Tyler Duffy and the like did at the end of games was really helpful for us. And then on the position player side, you mentioned a few earlier, Byron Buxton, Max Kepler, to see those guys, to see a healthy Luis Arias toward the end of the year and knowing what he can do to help impact us. Young players like Ryan Jeffers and Alex Kirilloff and others who stepped up for us late in the year. Those are good players. But we definitely have lost through free agency the likes of Nelson Cruz and Marwin Gonzalez and Jake Odorizzi and a few others. So we need to fill some of those holes. It's still early in the offseason. Free agency is just beginning. So I feel good about some of the conversations we're having in that space.
Perhaps the most coveted 40-year-old free agent on the market is Nelson Cruz. Just what he's been able to accomplish in a Twins uniform the last couple of seasons has been super, super impressive. Batted .303 last year, really. So where do negotiations stand with him right now? Because he really has been an asset to this team.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and Nelly, we said it right at the end of the season. We know what he's meant to this team over the last couple of years. As you said, he seems to defy aging at this stage in his career, but he's somebody we remain in contact with. Certainly remain in contact with the agent. As I said, while it feels like the season ended quite a while ago, this still does feel like the early part of the free agency process. He's earned that right to go to free agency and know kind of where his market sits. And we'll work through that thoughtfully, but we remain in contact with him as we do with a number of other players that were part of this team last year and some players from other clubs as well. So I'm excited about the group we have, and I know we'll be able to add to it to make it a better club.
And because we're living in a world of uncertainty right now, a wacky 2020, it sure has been. How has that affected the offseason from your perspective? Well, and what challenges are you facing?
Yeah, we're at the ones that I think everybody sitting at home right now are also facing a little bit of uncertainty, as to what goes forward. We know what just transpired. It was a challenging year, has been a challenging year on so many levels, personally and professionally for everybody. And then that's, baseball is no stranger to that. So I think what we don't know yet is probably the challenge, in terms of what it's going to look like after the first of the year, when exactly we'll get together for spring training. We're currently planning on business as usual, but we have to be able to adapt. We have to be able to prep our players from a distance in the event that that we get together, at a different time ultimately. So I think right now our job is just to try and prepare our season, our team for 2021 the best we can, and plan for normal, and then adapt and adjust as necessary, just as we did in 2020.
Any idea when spring training could start? Have you heard anything from MLB yet?
Well, I know the Players Association in Major League Baseball are starting some of those conversations now. Again, more knowledge on vaccines, more knowledge on what travel patterns might look like will really help us going forward. So as it stands right now, I think our plan would be to go and plan for the 2021 season as normal. And as I said, of course, the league and the union together will figure out a path forward, and we'll just adapt to that as we learn more.
Well, Derek, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to baseball season in 2021, hopefully with fans, as I'm sure you're hoping to see as well.
Yeah, no question. We missed them last year. We missed everybody down at Target Field. Our players did. We look forward to the day when we get everyone back together, and it's exciting to be talking about baseball season here soon.
Oh, yeah, it's right around the corner. Thanks.
Thanks for having me, Annie.